Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to this series of Microsoft Azure Fundamental Certification course. I'm so glad that you decided to take on the certification, and rest assured this videos will most definitely help you ace that exam. So without wasting any more time, in today's video we'll look at the Azure CLI, Azure PowerShell and the Azure CloudShell. So first off, let's look at the Azure CLI. CLI is basically it stands for command line interface, and that's basically what Azure CLI is. A whole bunch of commands. You command a computer to do a certain type of activity or whatever that you want it to do, and then it does that for you. And you get Azure CLI simply by installing it from the website. So you download it and install it from the website. For example, you could use a command such as AZ-VM create, which basically creates a virtual machine for you, and it's the same as the end result. It's the same as using the Azure portal. So it's except with the portal, then you'd have to click the buttons left, right, and center for you to create the virtual machine. Whereas with the CLI, you're basically commanding the computer to create that virtual machine for you. A lot of Azure professionals actually like using this Azure command line interface, and simply because the commands don't change, they rarely change if ever. And the advantage to that is that if they are not changing, then you can simply just automate them. And automation is actually a very good is beneficial when you have to do something over and over and over again. If you have to repeat the same thing all the time, then it makes more sense for you to automate that action. So if the commands are not changing, then you can reliably use them and then automate them. And also the commands are structured in a logical way, so you can pretty much use all the commands in a way. They are structured in a logical way, so you know the structure, then you can use all the commands in a very reliable way. So now let's look at the PowerShell. So the PowerShell is also a text-based command line interface, and fortunately for you, if you have a Windows machine, then you have it pre-installed on your machine when you buy it. Other than that, you can simply just install it and get it up and running just like that. It's like starting any other application on your computer really. But what it does is PowerShell actually uses commandlets, which are scripts in a way. So commandlets are small lightweight groups of commands called scripts. And for example, if you want to create a new virtual machine, then you would use the commandlet called, let's say, maybe new AZ VM is basically just virtual machine, and then you insert a few other details as well, and then just like that, boom, PowerShell has created a new virtual machine for you. And also, just like the Azure CLI and the portal, it communicates with the Azure Resource Manager in the back end, and the very same action happens that the same action that happens when you create whatever resource that you're creating using CLI or the portal actually happens with the PowerShell behind the scenes to create your virtual machine. So now let's move on to the CloudShell, which is basically an interactive browser accessible shell for managing resources, Azure resources obviously. And the advantage to that is that of using the CloudShell is that you can choose to use it from the browser, or you can use it from the portal, and we actually showed where you can get the CloudShell on the Azure portal. If you haven't checked that out, then just go check our previous video, or you can use it from your mobile app. So basically it's like an excellent tool for on the go. If you want to access your Azure resources anywhere, wherever you are, you can actually do that using the CloudShell. And the good thing to that is you can choose to either use a bash experience, which is more or less similar to the Azure CLI, or you can use the PowerShell experience, which is also similar to your standalone PowerShell that you get pre-installed in your Windows machine. So now let's look at the Azure Mobile Apps, which is basically just like any other mobile app that you can think of. The nice thing about the Azure Mobile Apps is that it's available on iOS and your Android. So that's a good thing, because other people might be using iOS and other people might be using Android. So it covers a whole bunch of users out there. And the main advantage, or the main reason why the mobile apps, the Azure Mobile Apps, was developed was to give you quick information on the go, or like to help you fix any issues that you might experience on the go. So if you want to access your Azure resources, if you want to check something regarding your subscriptions on Azure, then you can simply just use your mobile phone and check that. As easy as that. And the nice thing about it is that it also communicates with the Azure Resource Manager to help you interact with your Azure resources, and which basically means it's also in sync with the Azure CLI and the portal, and whatever else that you use to interact with the Azure. And also you can also use the version of the CloudShell to run PowerShell, or to run your CLI commands right from your cell phone using the mobile apps, the Azure mobile apps. It's important to specify, not just any mobile app, the Azure mobile apps. And there, we're done. You now know what an Azure command line interface is, what Azure PowerShell is, what it does, and what the CloudShell is, and what the mobile apps is. And that's basically it. I hope you guys found this video very useful. If you found it very useful, please comment down below. But also don't forget to share and like and subscribe as well, and turn on your notifications bell so you get notified every time I upload a new Microsoft Azure Fundamentals video, or any other video for that matter.